Creating success out of failure. Creating success out of failure.
I'm Jonathan Federa. I'm here to inspire you to hustle and grow your income while doing what you love. Just because you have problems doesn't mean you can't prosper. Just because you have tragedy doesn't mean you can't triumph. Actually, you should be taking advantage of that.
There's positivity in my pain. I took scarcity and turned it into strength. I always tell life, there's not much you can do to me where I won't make an obstacle an opportunity. We never lose, we only learn lessons. If you wanna change your perspective. If you don't know how to do that, we'll show you how right now. Cause it's about to go down. You are tuning in to creating success out of failure. Creating success creating success out of failure. Out of failure.
Welcome everybody to Creating Success Out of Failure. I'm here with my lovely co-host Jessica, and we have a special guest, Kris Whitehead of Iconic Meals and Alliance. And Kris is someone that has been in Apex, and now he's a coach of Apex. Sorry if I butchered something.
You're good.
For a long time. And I think he's the perfect guest for today to kind of go through and teaching people, how to stay in the fight and not to give up before it's, before you get to where you need to be.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Jonathan and Jessica. And, one of the things that really, so for your audience that doesn't know me, I'm 47 years old, and I've been a business owner for probably half my life now. I started out as an entrepreneur at 16 years old, but that was, washing some cars and mowing some lawns. And I figured out that made a lot more money than being a lifeguard for $3.50 an hour or whatever it was paying. But my real business venture started at 24 years old. And, back in the 90s, the late 90s, when I started business, everybody had this real corporate ease about them. We're all going to show our shiny suits, or we're all going to show our program, or come to this Coliseum. And, there might have been 10 people out of 25,000 that are making millions of dollars, and everybody else is there funding that entire process. And they're saying, you can do it too. And I've always been dumb enough to believe in that dream. But along the way, 5 years in, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the struggle. 10 years in, and I'm like, I'm stressed. 15 years in, and I'm still not getting the results that I want. And I'm starting to go, did I make a major life choice that I have now condemned my entire family to failure? And in all of my years of building businesses, one of my issues had always been, I want to be authentic. I want to be me. I want to share what's good because that makes me feel energetic. And when I touch other people, but then when I went into the business world and did that, I would talk to an architect and they would look me up and down. They'd hear my story and they would dismiss me, or I would talk to another contractor or another business owner and they would dismiss me. And I realized that they wanted me to play this corporatese game. And I'm not built for that very well. I was playing checkers when other people were playing chess. And the whole reason I started business is so that I didn't have to play chess that way. What I've learned is you still have to play chess, but it's a completely different game. And with the advent of digital marketing, with the advent of everything that's happened in our political system, as well as in our social system, even with the media kind of sometimes not telling the truth. I'm trying to be real nice here, wink, wink.
Sometimes.
I think what's really happened across the board is that people are starting to understand the difference between bullshit and the real shit. And I think it's gotten so prolific that we can actually look at tonality in a text message. And so to think that you can offer your services and have it be a sustainable long-term thing and not live in authenticity, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And so there are people like us that are starting to come up and have major success. And the reason that we're doing it, I believe, is because we were waiting for this to be the opportunity for me just to be honest, and me just to be real, and me just to be able to share with you so I can show you what to avoid and I can show you where to go and you can trust that system. And that's all I was ever looking for. If they'd offered that so long ago, somebody dumb like me probably could have tripped into success. Instead, I went around my elbow to get to my butt, buying into people's programs, thinking that I was going to get there, when in fact I was just helping other people that were already on top stay there. And we live in a different world now. So I am 100% behind what you're putting out. And more importantly, I want to champion anyone that's listening to this, that the real pay dirt in life, whether it's with your significant other, whether it's with your offspring, whether it's with your friends or the people that you do business with, if you build know, like, trust, and the most important part of that is the trust on the end of it, which is your integrity, you will have not only sustained something for yourself, but if you have a dream that's big enough to build a legacy behind it, I believe that it'll stand the test of time. So again, thanks for having me here.
I'm so excited to have you here because I know this is something that's really propelled you in your career, is learning the lesson from the mistakes and the hurdles that come our way in business. It's something you and I've spoken about on numerous occasions. And I think it's probably going to be hard for you to pinpoint maybe one moment, but I want to know, because authenticity is something I feel really passionately about, and it took me a long time to embrace who I really am and not be afraid. So what was the defining moment for you where you were like, F it, I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm just going to bring my true self? And how did that change the landscape of your business and your life?
So for me, it's been a process of gradual becoming the real boy instead of Pinocchio. 9 or 10 years ago, I got online and I started putting videos out because I realized people weren't doing it. And I realized this was a great way to connect with people. And I was a salesman. So I kind of came across as, hey, buy my stuff, that kind of language. And I didn't realize I was doing it because I was just emulating whatever I had been taught, I guess. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Because I hadn't actually made it, I was trying to fake my way and pretend to be the people that I saw that were successful. I was trying to be like them. And the problem is that I didn't know who they were. And the truth is I didn't know who I was. So there was this gradual process of doing things and getting feedback, especially on social media, from people. And I'll never forget, it was probably 5 years ago. Somebody saw one of my videos and they sent me a private or a text message, and they said, hey, can we meet up for lunch? And I was like, great, I got a client. And so I sat down with them and they went off for about 20 minutes and I turned 18 shades of red, saying that I talked too long and too much on my videos. And I kind of thought I was coming in because they saw me as an expert, and they were kind of turned off because their experience with me personally and their experience of this guy that was selling online or talking online, they were two different human beings. And then I started getting feedback from my fiance, Robin, and she wasn't giving me that kind of feedback. What she was doing is saying, you go around talking about integrity all the time, and here are the 18,000 ways that you're out of integrity. And I would get so angry at her because I was like, at least I'm trying. At least I'm putting it out there. At least I'm lifting up positive stuff. And she's like, yeah, but at least you're coming home drunk and you're a liar. And I was like, yeah, there's that part in there. And so there were these come to Jesus moments that I started happening, that I started saying, hey, if you really feel compelled to help people out, and if you really feel compelled to try to make people's lives better, maybe the feedback that you're getting is really good feedback, even though you don't like it, Kris. And maybe what you need to do is take some time to think about what really matters to you. And it was, I joined a network that we're all part of called Apex, built by Ryan Stewman. And I ended up going to the top tier of that called Executives. And I started realizing that there were people that were not only just living their business life in integrity, but they were living their physical life. They were taking care of themselves physically. They were focused on the kinds of people that they were around. They were focused on their business and their family, and they were focused on their faith. And that doesn't necessarily mean their faith in a higher power, but at least faith in themselves. And I started realizing I had a lot of work to do. And over the next several months, I really started dialing in on my genetics, my group, my grind, and my gratitude. And what I found that came out of that is 20 years of pent up information, beliefs, passion, the whole reason I'm an entrepreneur. And it started pouring out of me. And I started being bold where I used to be weak. And I started being timid when I used to be bold. It was like, I didn't really think about it too much. It just kind of was coming out of me, and people started really digging it. And I just kind of said, well, let's keep going with that. Let's just be real and be willing to share. And, now we're, #1 best-selling author, and social media is crazy, and my coaching programs are crazy, and our businesses are doing well. So what I've learned is that I had to become the thing that I wanted the most before I actually received what I wanted to, and then become it. And I'm really grateful that it happened that way, because I have some of the most awesome relationships, which actually matters more to me than the money, in the world, because I'm actually, I don't really give a damn what anybody thinks about it anymore.
It's so liberating. Those conversations are tough. And I feel like most of us can relate to that. Like, we had a moment where someone shed some light on how we're behaving, or how we're not being consistent with our messaging, and living the life that we're trying to tell other people to live. And a lot of people would call that disingenuine, but I think we're attracted to people. Like, you found Apex, so did I, so did Jonathan. We're attracted to them because of something, like some kind of like inner compass work is telling us to move towards it, but we're not really aware of the why just yet. And it takes us to start following those people and mimic them in some way. That's like the first step of really figuring out how you fit into that world and what unique spin you're going to take. And the last push that happens is the people who are closest to us calling us out on our crap and giving us that like that neutral perspective, where it's like, well, that's great, but you got to live that life to exude that energy. And if you're not living that truth, then your audience is going to know, and your people are going to know. So I feel connected to that. And I love Robin. She's awesome. She has like a really good way of gently nudging you in the correct direction with love, because it's tough to hear if you don't feel supported. And it sounds like she did it in a way that made you feel supported, but also let you see the writing on the wall.
Well, the reason she's my life partner and truly my soulmate is because you don't always like the person that you're actually supposed to be with. And the reason is because I believe when they're the right person, it's because you share the same morals and ethics, right? And so here we are raising children, and I'm talking about integrity, and I'm putting videos online, and she knows that what she and the children are seeing are a version of that, but it's not 100%. And so, yeah, she did it in a loving way. I don't necessarily think that most people would see it that way, but I think the reason being is not because she was doing anything wrong. It's because your ego gets involved so quick. And mine did for years, until I started understanding why she was saying what she was saying. It was actually for my benefit. And I'm forever grateful for that. And that's why I'm forever grateful for the kind of friends and mentors that we have inside of our network, because it's very, very easy now to see people that will tell me their truth versus people that are just saying shit to say shit. And I value it, because the one thing I do realize, getting a little bit closer to that 50 number, is I don't have forever to be here. So I've spent so much of my life getting ready to get ready. Now it's the time to actually live my life, because it could be over with tomorrow. So that living in authenticity, I feel freer than I've ever felt. And it allows me, even if you or Jonathan or Robin or even if you disagree with me, even if I lose the relationship, even if I lose the business, in the long run, it's going to be way better for me to be who I am than to try to come back and say, well, we had a misunderstanding. No, we didn't, asshole. You lied. The bottom line is you lied, and we started down this road, and you took a 2-degree turn, and here we are 8 years later, and we're 17 miles apart. Yeah. That's just, to me, it's common sense now, but it wasn't at the time, because I was just really afraid of what I didn't know,
Yeah. But you know what? Two of the things that you said that really struck home is one, you were an overnight success, but it took you 15 years, right?
Right.
People don't understand that part of it. And that's the God's honest truth. You know, I'm going through it now. I've gone through 3, 4 different partnerships, you know, because you're growing, you're putting in the work, and that's not always reciprocated, or someone is irresponsible or does the wrong thing and you have to part ways. It's like that with everything. So people on the outside see, hey, you're killing it. That's not the case. There's so many different battles going on in the background at all times. Like you said, being true to yourself. You know, I know that if I don't hit certain things on my checklist, that's why I love 75 hard. Because I know when I go through all that, I feel really good about myself. I built that confidence. If I have a day where I miss working out, you know, or I don't read to my kids at night or something like that, those little things throw you out of congruence. And having the self-awareness to understand how you're built and what you need to do and being completely congruent lets you build that momentum. So that's awesome.
My one of the biggest aha moments that I have had recently is we're having more success than I've ever had in all my life, right? And I thought, okay, we're getting ready to buy the, $1 million house, and the business is doing this, and the money's coming in, and we're on easy street. We finally got to the pot of gold. And I want to share with your audience something that I know now is 100% truth, and I now know is the key to exponential growth for the rest of your life. It is never going to get easier. I'm going to get better. And what I mean by that is, in the process of getting this $1 million house, we're living 2 months in a hotel room. Because it's a jumbo loan, they are up my fahanty asking me questions that I don't know the answers to, but I got to find, which means we're not guaranteed that the home is there until 2 days beforehand. Robin's mom broke her arm in 3 places. I had to, because I'm leveling up, I had to let go of a CFO. I had to let go of an executive assistant. I watched my team. I had to fire a salesman. More things have come at me in the last 3 months than I have ever experienced in my life. But the difference is I made a choice to lean into it, and I can take it because I'm better. And I know that there's something coming on the other end that's going to be better. And when that aha moment hit, it was almost like, wait, instead of worrying about working out so that I can go eat the donut and drink the beer and smoke the joint and sit on my ass for the next 3 months and get fat to then go work out again, what if I just sustained the work effort? What if I just kept getting better and better and better? And what's going to happen is bigger challenges are going to come my way. But instead of my rubber band snapping, it just stretches, which allows for more to come in. And once I got there, it's like, now I look for the challenges, and I don't look for the pain, but I look for the challenges. And here's what I know: if I can provide a solution, I'll get remunerated for that solution. And so now I've become more creative, because now I'm not worried about when is it going to be my turn. There is no my turn. There is only what's most important to me, and to live a life of doing what's most important to me, which brings back that authenticity piece. And I'm really grateful for it, because all of us, we could be making $4 million and they turn off the internet. We could find out that a world war comes and none of this shit matters anymore. But I know what does matter now. And that's why I said the money doesn't matter nearly as much as the relationships, because now I'm connected to amazing human beings that I do have a way to connect with, and together we can figure out what we need to do. And that provides a level of security that I've never had in my life. And I just encourage other people to find a group of people that you have that with, not your homies that you get around and kick the can and talk about crap, but people that challenge you to be better, and people that when the real tough stuff comes, they don't run away, they run into the fire with you. And that to me has been the game changer. It's absolutely been the game changer. And I really wish that I'd found it earlier, but I'm really grateful that I have it now. So I'm just going to maintain it by making sure that I am in integrity for my word. That's it. Bottom line. That's really all I have to do. It's not that difficult. The problem is that we get in our own way and we start emotionalizing stuff and our ego gets involved. The next thing you know, we start stepping out of our integrity, and that's when the mistakes happen.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Oh, sorry.
Really good. I feel like everything Kris says is a mic drop. Like,
Yeah, that was good.
he's so passionate. It's one of the things I love the most about him. Is,
Yeah, for you guys that are listening, I had to stop Kris and say we were going to start because we're just all hanging out, kicking it, and he's spitting gold left, right, center. And I'm like, Kris, save it for the episode.
I want people that are listening to this to find something in their life that they believe in so much that they don't do it because of the money. They do it because it's who they were made to be. And, you know, somehow, some way, God gave me the ability to be tenacious enough until I found the thing that I wanted to do. And I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. But the reason it starts coming is because I'm hanging around with badass people that I respect. And we started talking about things that are not surface level. I mean, it happened as soon as we got on the horn, and it's like, okay, let's get into it then. Let's just talk about this stuff. I love this stuff because I want people to experience it. Until you've experienced it, I truly believe, and this could be egotistical, but I don't think it is. I truly believe that you haven't lived because you're worried about the wrong shit. You're worried about things that will not have any real impact on you in your life.
true.
But once you become the kind of person that says, hey, I am willing to be a real boy. I no longer want to be Pinocchio, and I'm willing to do the work to get there. What I found is there are thousands upon thousands of people at our access that were like, I've just been waiting on you to be ready, man. I've just been waiting on you to be ready. And I want for those of us that have decided to be entrepreneurs, I'm going to tell you, if you don't already know, it's like the most dangerous thing on earth to do. So if you're going to risk it all, I want you to win. I really want you to win. But you need to understand something. 95% of people fail. And it's not because entrepreneurism doesn't work. It's because you have to understand the fundamental building blocks of how it works. And you have to understand the situation socially that you're in for it to work. What worked in 1998 does not work in 2021. It will never, ever work in 2021. And so you have to stay on top of the trends. You have to stay on top of what people want. And you have to be able to understand the value that you bring. And unfortunately, there are still plenty of people out there that are selling to desperate souls. And what I want to do is kick some desperate souls off the fence and say, just stand for something before you die for anything.
Yes.
Yep.
I hate people that don't have the conviction in them because I cannot relate to that. I don't want to be in the middle. I want to stand for something. And it's funny because you'll hear a lot entrepreneurs, they'll say like, well, I have this and I have that, and this is a better plan for my future, and this is better for this. And I'm like, but where's the heart? Where's your heart at? Because you could go follow your retirement plan. Well, this business will help me retire. Or you could follow your passion and then make that something real intense and amazing. Because if you follow the safe retirement plan, you're going to get bored. If you're a real entrepreneur at heart, you're going to not feel fulfilled, even if you make $1 gazillion, because that's not the fulfillment. The fulfilling part is the challenge, overcoming that, figuring out the way to make the sleigh happen despite the hurdles. That's the juicy goodness.
It's exactly what Jonathan said. It's no coincidence that those of us that are entrepreneurs fall into 75 hard.
Yeah.
And go, oh my God, it's the most mind-blowing thing I've ever done in my life. And other people are looking at you like, are you an idiot? Why would you do that to yourself? And you're like, we're just not the same. It's okay. Look, I don't judge anyone. Robin is not an entrepreneur at heart. Okay. By any stretch of the imagination, she's like, look, the business is over today. We're not going to talk about that anymore, right? Because now we're at home time. And I'm like, okay, I can do that for a couple hours, you know, but like a lot of people, she's like, look, a job is there for money, but what we're doing here is life. But that's why I have her with me, because it creates harmony. I didn't say balance. I said harmony, because I need someone in my life that doesn't think like I think, right? But that's okay. I'm not here for those people. I'm here for you weirdos like me that are listening right now that have gone, I tried the corporate thing. It didn't fucking work. I wished it would have. I wished I could have won. Yeah. You know, we have one child that wants to be a dentist. We have another child that went 1 year to college and he's like, I don't want to do it. So I'm bringing him into Apex next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to show him how to do it because, you know, different strokes for different folks. But I want to let you know something. If you're listening to this, there are 8 billion people on the world and we're supposed to have 10 billion by 2050. I don't know where we're going to put them all, but I will tell you this. How many of those 8 billion people do you need to buy your stuff for you to find the success that you want? You're worrying about the wrong thing. When you decide what it is you stand for, you will find other people that will stand for that with you. You don't need nearly as many as you think. And don't you for 1 second think that when you make that political post or when you make that social post or when you say one thing out of the left side of your head and then a year later you say another thing out of the right side of your head, don't you think they're not watching you on social media? And don't you think you're not shooting yourself in the foot? So you better find what you believe in. And then you better be willing to die for that cause because it will make you feel in the process of getting to success that you are actually dying. I'm here to tell you you're not, but I'm here to tell you that who you become in that process is way, way more important than any of the other rewards that you get from it. That's been my experience anyway.
And not only that, but like you shouldn't be for everybody. You should be for your niche of people, whatever that is. You don't want to just wait in the middle trying to please everyone because in the process you please no one and you are no one. You have no identity. So stand for what you believe in, push forward, and the people that can connect with that point of view, those are your people. Those are your friends. Those are your colleagues. Those are your clients, etc.
100%. I think that it's super, super important to be transparent because you know what? If you think about it, what do I sell? Money? Everyone sells money. What makes me different, right? Jessica went from attorney to now coach. Kris, I know you coach and you have a ton of different businesses. What makes us stand apart and what makes people reach out to us? It's being transparent. It's showing them glimpses of our lives. It's, you know what I mean? Because this way people can relate to us. You know, and that's why I like doing this and that's why we have people on like yourself, because we want to show the actual struggle. You know, everyone could look at you, Kris, and be like, holy shit, he's done it all. He's got it all. They don't know what you sacrificed. They don't know what you went through. They don't know what you're going through now. Like you told me what you've done in the last 3 months. I wanted to come through here and give you a hug. Jessica knows the shit that I have been going through the last 3 months. I think Jessica and maybe Jeff are the only people. And it's nuts, like, you know, but that's why we do this.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, Kris makes it seem easy. Like, I feel like I could picture little baby Kris, like coming out of the womb, spitting fire and being all like prophetic, you know, but the reason he has all that fire in him is because of all the stuff he's been through and learned through the years. And I'm so happy that he's here being vulnerable with us and sharing that, because if you're just starting out or you're in a rough spot and you're looking at us thinking, oh, it must be easy, you know, now it's not. We've all been where you are, and you just got to keep going and find what you believe in and fight for it.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that there aren't people out there like me, Jessica, Jonathan. I mean, Jonathan, that's how I met you. I reached out to you and said, hey, dude, my business needs a temporary loan while we're waiting for some money to come in. And you took care of me in like 20 minutes. And I think the loan came through in the same exact day. Jessica and I are coaches. There are people that can help you get there. Take the time to follow them. Take the time to read their books. Take the time to get on social media and read what they talk about. And if you jive with them, listen to them, buy their programs, join their courses, follow them around to see if they really are who they say they are. And they can cut your learning curve down quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And that was probably, if there was one lesson that I had to learn, is that for so long I was making so little money doing what I was doing that I had these little dinosaur arms. And I tried to find the least expensive way to get the biggest bang for the buck. I just did. And what I learned is that I was cutting myself short because I was trying to sell an expensive product and I was trying to pay the least amount. Now I'm in congruency. Look, I certainly I like a deal like anybody else, but if the value is there, I will pay the price 100% because that gives me the authority to charge 100% for what my value is worth. And that was a big, again, out of integrity. The biggest thing that I've noticed for me, and then a lot of the entrepreneurs that I coach, is I'm just helping them find their level of integrity. Once they hit a specific gravity with that, the relationships start getting better. And I'm talking my process too. Why do you think I keep evolving through employees and other things? Because I keep leveling up, and the people that I hired 2 years ago are like, I'm not on board with that anymore. And I'm like, that's okay, but this is what we do now. And they're like, I quit. It's your fault, Kris. Do you know how many hundreds of employees I've had that have said, I'm leaving because it's your fault? Yet I'm still here. I'm still growing. I'm still making money. And who knows where they are now? So I'm okay for it to be my fault, but I refuse to not grow and not change in order to become who I feel called to become. And that's what I want the people in the audience to really consider. Look, man, if you have a spouse or somebody that you're dating, do you want them to look up to you and feel pride when they know what you stand for? Or do you want them to go, yeah, he or she bought me the boat, bought me the house, bought me the ring, bought me the, what's important to you? Because that will tell you why you're living in the situation you're living in. The reason I say that money is not the most important thing to me is because I have the keys to the kingdom to figure out how to make money anytime I want now. You know what's hard, or what can be hard? Finding people to run with that you trust. That can be difficult. But once you find them, I promise you this, I believe you will never, ever go back from it. I believe that you would do anything in your power to make sure that you're good to those people, because they don't come around every single day.
Well, those are your ride or dies.
Yep.
That is, I think, the perfect way to kind of segment everything. You know, I believe relationships are more important than anything at the end of the day. You know, but the relationship has to work for both parties, and they have to be reciprocal. You know, if you're around takers and you know, that gets toxic. That has been my downfall.
It was my downfall for a lot of years. And Jessica and I were in a group earlier today where she was saying that was one of her downfalls. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs run into that. We're either the complete asshole that takes from everybody, or we're the, here, all of you eat. And then you end up going, I'll eat tomorrow, you know, and it's your business, right? I did that for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And the reason that I did it, I don't know about you two, I'd love to hear y'all's opinion. I did it because partially I believed it wasn't worth the relationships because of experiences in the past. And the other reason was what I was being modeled by relationships in my inner circle family, call it. And then the last reason I think I was a giver is because I wanted to be valuable. And somehow I got it in my head that if I took better care of you than I took care of myself, that made me important. And never more has the slogan, you have to put on your own air mask before you put someone else's on, meant more to me than once I started understanding how do I help people if I have no value left to give, you know? And as a business owner, the number one thing you have to do is protect your profitability so you can take care of your people. Otherwise, you won't have a company very long to take care of those people. And they are counting on you. I've thought about it for years. When somebody comes and is hired by me, they're trusting their children with me, their wife or their husband with me, the people in their community that they support. That's really important. I got to think about what that looks like. And so I think your audience should as well, you know, and that is a real litmus for, well, don't you want to hang around the most integrous people you can find? Because those are the kind of people that will help you sustain business as well as life and friendship.
100%. 100%. How many mic drops can we have on this show? I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
There was a lot of them.
I really appreciate you having me on. I think, you know, I wrote a book that just came out recently. It's called Becoming Iconic, How to Make Today's Ceiling Tomorrow's Floor. And the premise of the book is over 24 years, what I've learned about the mindset fundamentals of building a successful organization. And there's not a lot of, turn left here, go right there, as far as actual tactical steps to take. It's really a mindset book. But my hope, and it's a #1 bestseller, so I'm really grateful for that. Anybody can go check it out on Amazon.com, Becoming Iconic. But my real goal behind it was to share some of this story, was to let people know that it is going to be difficult. And it's good that it's difficult, because if you're made of the right kind of stuff, that you love that challenge and you love to overcome it. Entrepreneurism is one of those things that I don't think the challenge is ever going to slow down. I think there's always going to be something around. And the best part about it, Plato talked about it in the allegory of the cave. And what he said was, and think about this thousands of years ago, he said, we're all chained in a cave and we're looking at an image on a wall. And we don't realize that it's a shadow because there's a fire behind us with things going on around that fire. Then step number 2 is your chains break and you stand up and you look around and you see the source of the light, and it's the fire, and you see the shape. So now you have a little bit more congruency with what's real. But as you're looking around and you see the fire, you also look to the wall, and in the wall, there's a bigger light than the fire. So you naturally gravitate towards walking toward that light. And you realize there's a whole big world outside, and you go into the stage of knowledge, and you go out and you experience life, and you see the clouds and you taste the things, and it's all great. But somewhere along that journey, you remember that there are still people back in the cave that are still in chains. And so for any species on Earth, that's one way to describe evolution, I suppose. But for any species on Earth, we're constantly here to make it better for the next generation so that our species continues. And what Plato, I believe, was trying to say is that the final stage is for us to go back into the cave and free some people up. And so my mission, my tagline on social media is, I'll see you in the trenches. Because what I believe is that for the rest of my life, as long as God blesses me to do so, I'll be given the permission to always stay in the trenches to encourage our next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders to come through and make it even better than me. Hell, they should be way better than us 20 years from now. And I want to see them that way. And that, I believe, is living a life of purpose. And that's what I want everybody to be able to have, is a life of purpose, no matter what it means to you. If working at McDonald's gives you purpose, I do not judge you. I might not be able to help you very much, but I do not judge you. I just want you to actually find it so that you're not breathing air that somebody else could use. That's really kind of important stuff. That's all.
With that being said, Kris, where can they find you if someone wants to be coached personally by you?
Okay.
What is the best way to get a hold of you for coaching, for anything?
So the best way is to go to KrisWhitehead.com. Check out that website. You can also find me on Facebook. I have all those links in my bio, and I am the Kris Whitehead. It's just what I had to choose. I didn't do it to be cool. But the Kris Whitehead.
Sure.
Find me on Facebook and send me a DM. And I'm happy to have a chat with you. You know, if we're a good fit, I'll help you out. And if we're not, I've got a huge network of people that I can connect you with that would be better to serve you.
I love that. Kris, thank you so much. I got to tell you, like Jessica said, it was mic drop after mic drop after mic drop. A lot of times we can go through here and like you could always pull out 1 or 2 clips. They're going to have no shortage of clips to pull out. I
appreciate you, Jonathan. I really do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I love talking to you. You're inspiring, you're motivating, and you're just an amazing human being.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I'm honored.
Well, guys, tune in, okay? Share this episode. I don't even have to say if you got anything out of it, because I know you got a ton out of it, right? You just got the blueprint that you needed and proof that, hey, we all go through it. So leave us a review, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, and we will catch you on the next one.
Creating success. success out of failure. Creating success out of failure.
Thanks for tuning in to Creating Success Out of Failure. Please share this with someone that needs to hear it, post it on social media, and leave us a 5-star review. I'll catch you on the next one.
Creating success out of failure.